Hello, welcome fellow parents and educators. My name is Jamie and I am so thrilled to be sharing this video with you as I am working with forchildren.ca. Their mission is to provide resources to support all children. They are hosting an event that I will share more about later in this video. Forchildren.ca has asked that I share a little of our story. I am a homeschool mom to 3 kiddos, 2 typical developing daughters aged 9 and 11, and their older brother, Darian, who's 13 years old, and he was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder when he was around 7 years old. Our journey with the medical and school system in Alberta, Canada has been a very bumpy and confusing and finally rather disappointing ride as I confronted the fact that the experts we personally encountered were not equipped to help us or our son. Darian missed out on any early intervention because our first doctor told us that his lateness in speaking was due to regression and that he would speak whenever he was ready. When Darian was 6 years old, the school system really began pushing us to find a label to pay for the EA or educational assistant that Darian needed. We had concerns about his eloping and also the fact that he found it very difficult in the classroom setting. Sadly, for about a 2-year period here in Alberta, the medical system in regards to autism was completely overwhelmed. And so at that point, they were diagnosing children in a very peculiar way, if I can say that. Darian would meet with 3 professionals, none of them would be doctors, and he would spend over a 3-hour session with them. And my husband and I were not allowed in that room. Months later, a doctor would come to that file folder with his name on it and diagnose Darian based on the checklist that those 3 individuals had done that day. My husband and I said no thank you because we felt that it would be very traumatizing to Darian, having seen him in getting his ears tested, and it was not pretty, and it would be traumatizing for us as well. And then no proper new information would be gained from that exercise. So instead, we paid for a specialized speech therapist from Nashville, Tennessee, as they recognized a lot more speech and language disorders that we in Canada at the time, I don't know about right now, recognized. And so we wanted to make sure that that label was what was happening rather than just throwing him in that particular basket. She was lovely, this lady from Tennessee, and she was wonderful. But when the diagnosis of autism was confirmed, the wave of negative information began to hit. Darian's prognosis was grim. There was a ceiling within the hour of getting that diagnosis. There was a ceiling in which he could not penetrate or overcome. The school system had very similar messaging. Despite my very best efforts to work with the school, I became that problem parent. And as Darian began to develop an anxiety disorder on top of his autism, we decided to pull him from school. But we worked with the school for about a month and a half to try and get him to go back. Unfortunately, it got to the point where the school system said that I needed to now homeschool my son. We had reached that point. And the crazy thing that we were asking for was simply a new educational aid. So panic and treading water and trying to breathe. I felt completely unequal to the task. I graduated high school with a C/D average. I was an artist, not a scholar, at least I thought so. And I was now expected to fulfill the role of proud mama, no problem. But now I was his teacher, his EA, his speech and occupational therapist, all rolled into one. I had also been conditioned over the years that my hope and love for my child were actually a detriment to the development of Darian. that it skewed my reality and my expectations for him. An angel came into my life in the form of my son's homeschool facilitator, who oddly enough had a child with autism. She had done a home-based therapy program with her son, and he was now in college. And I really share and encourage families to give themselves grace, as every decision we make is a process of working through all the past and present options. And so I'm giving myself grace, but it took me a year to research the Sunrise program. But once the door was open, I could breathe again. I could breathe again. My hope and love for my child was no longer a detriment. Instead, it was the very key to unlocking my son's potential. And we saw that played out almost as soon as we began to implement the Sunrise program techniques. 4 years into our Sunrise program, I've had to give up writing all the new words Darian is saying. There's just too many. He plays with his sisters and he feeds us imaginary hamburgers. He no longer elopes and he is happy. Does he still have challenges? Yes. But at 13 years old, he has already smashed that so-called ceiling he would never be able to overcome. We parent and homeschool differently as we understand where Darian's struggles stem from and are able to love and accept him as he is, while showing him the way forward and allowing him to do that whenever he is able. I started my YouTube channel, Homeschool Autism Life, because I love to share that there is joy in this journey. I love that I can share that the hope and love you have for your child is not a negative, but is a wonderful tool in your tool belt, wonderful, that neither the medical system nor the school system can replicate. That you can affect change and help your child. So 4children.ca is virtually hosting Ron K. Kaufman, who is intimately involved with the Sunrise program from its very beginning until today. And he will share Autism Breakthrough, Realizing the Potential of Your Autistic Child on June 3rd, 2021. I will leave a link to the event below with a promo code for 20% discount off of the registration price. And I really encourage you, just crack that door open, look into it, and see if this would be the right fit for you and your family. Thank you for taking the time and listening and watching this video. Bye.